Thank you, Patricia. A sincere thank you to the Danimas Sims Institute for inviting me to participate in this discussion on a truly fascinating area of the patent law, and especially with my colleague, Amy. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about this specific issue. Today, Amy and I will embark, I guess I can say, on a small journey together. We'll talk about the strategies for navigate the complexities of second-use patents. However, before we start our conversation, I felt that I need some, let's say, background to make sure that we are all on the same page, right? Especially because we're having specific terms regarding second use, medical patents, skin label, and so on. But focusly in Brazil. So I will outline the key milestones and developments around second medical use patents and skin label here in Brazil. This will serve, I believe, I hope so, as a foundation for our discussion moving forward. So let me share my screen over here. Oh, it's not. I was true. Sorry, guys. Technical. Not technical. A panelist problem. I was in the middle of the presentation. Sorry.
Uh,
Everything is working, Patricia?
Yes,
Yes?
perfectly.
I
Okay.
see it.
So let's start with the beginning, right? Our journey, as I can say, starts in May 1996, when our current IP law was enacted. Why am I talking about this law specifically? Because with that law, Brazil now accepts patents for pharmaceutical inventions, right? Before that, pharmaceutical inventions were not a patentable subject matter in Brazil, but from May 1996, as a matter of fact, May 1996, because the law only became effective 1 year from its issuance, patents could be granted for pharmaceutical invention as long as, of course, they are patentable, meets the requirements of novelty, inventive step, and industrial application. Now, the other milestones regarding this topic is February 1999, because Brazil issued this law 9787. Why are this law is important? Because this law creates the rules for generic versions here in Brazil, right? And one important thing here that I need to say about this law is that this law does not authorize a skin label because of 2 points. Because this law established that a generic medicine must have the same therapeutic indication as its reference drug and must differ only in a few features of the generic of the reference drug regarding size, shape, expiration date, patent, and labeling, and excipients, right? So generics, according to this law, must have the same therapeutic indication of its reference medicine. Now, another important development here in Brazil regarding now second use patent is the issue when the patent office issue its guidelines for pharmaceutical patent application. Why this is important? Because now with these guidelines, the patent office confirmed that second medical use is a patentable subject matter in Brazil. Okay. Now, because the patent office was already granted patent for that, but now it has become a rule, right? And providing the examiners the support and how to assess the patentability criteria for this type of invention. And one thing here in Brazil that even though this guideline is from 2002, until now, we do have second medical use in Brazil is patent in the Swiss style claim. For those who doesn't recall, a Swiss style claim is a specific type of patent claim using pharmaceutical to protect the use of a non-substance for a new medical use. In other words, this type of claim defines use of compound A for manufacturing a medicine, a pharmaceutical composition for treat a disease W. That's different from the previous use for this non-compound, right? So we still have Swiss type format. Now, even though the patent office has issued that guidelines confirm the patentability of second medical use, there was doubt if the court would have the same understanding of the patent office, if the court would understand that second medical use is a patentable subject matter, because that's the important one thing, because our IP law does not state that pharmaceutical inventors are patentable, does not state second medical use is patentable. They only say, our law only says what is not patentable. And there is a discussion because, and also this IP law states that therapeutic methods are not patentable subject matter in Brazil. So that could have a discussion whether the court would understand a second medical use as some sort of a therapeutic use, therefore it would not be a patentable subject matter. But this doubt was surmounted in April 2013 when the Federal Court of Appeals of the Second Region in Rio de Janeiro issued a decision from the two panels, from the two IP specialized panels of this court. They got together and issued a ruling confirming that second medical use is a patentable subject matter in Brazil. Now we have a jump from, I don't remember, from 2013 to 2020. As a matter of fact, June 2020. Why am I saying that? Because in this month, this particular time, a generic company filed, I guess, a lawsuit before the federal courts of Rio de Janeiro, seeking an annotation in the patent. Basically, this annotation is something like that. In my humble opinion, the patent covers what the patent covers. They just want an annotation in the first page of the patent, say that this patent can only be enforced against basically the use of the substance for the specific treatment, because just for let's show annotation in a second medical use patent. Okay, basically they want to avoid that the patentee could use this patent, the second use medical patent, against a generic without this therapeutic indication covered by the patent. Why is that? Because this same generic company has carved out the patent therapeutic indication from the label of its generic version, okay? And, oh, sorry, wrong button. And that's one thing that I mentioned. I'm not even talking about the federal law that, in my view, states that skinny label is not permitted. But the Anvisa's internal rules, Anvisa is the regulatory agency here in Brazil, Anvisa didn't have rules confirming the acceptance of skinny label. Even without that, some generic companies managed to carve out the patent therapeutic indication from the label of its medicine. Basically, they found, I guess I can say that, a loophole in the Anvisa systems to obtain that. They are using rules for Anvisa that do not apply to generic versions, and therefore they managed to carve out the patent therapeutic indication without Anvisa's approval. And now, that's why basically we are having this discussion here, because in last year, even though Brazil grants second use medical patents, second medical use patents since 2000 and something, the beginning of the 2000s, only last year we have a decision on the merits, the first case of a patentee enforcing a second medical use patent here in Brazil. And this is that's why then the discussion started. We are having a discussion on the courts. That's why, as Patricia mentioned, this is becoming a very hot topic in Brazil. So the patentee filed this complaint for infringement of its second medical use. The judge grants the preliminary injunction based on this patent, and within 4 months later, which is incredible fast for Brazilian standards, the judge rules the case. They issue a decision on the merits, confirming that the generic version infringes a second medical use patent despite skinny label. Because you guys remember, even though it was not allowed according to Anvisa's rules, this generic company managed to carve out the patent therapeutic indication. Okay, but even so, the judge ruled against the generic company. Basically, the judge have the following understand. One, skinny label is illegal, as I said. So the judge confirmed my opinion. But they say that the federal law does not authorize skinny label, therefore the 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 skinned label is not permitted in Brazil. Then there is infringement. Okay. But the judge go further. The judge even said that even if skinny label would be legal in Brazil, still there is infringement. First, because the generic company commercialized its generic version with the full label, so there was infringement at least from that moment. And the generic company confessed during the proceeding that with the skinny label, they could not avoid the use of its generic version for the patent therapeutic indication. And therefore, the judge, with that confession and with evidence that this generic company has commercialized its generic version for the patent therapeutic indication, ruled that there is infringement. And going to the end, just more two steps of this history background. February of this year, Anvisa finally started to accept skinny label. The Anvisa issued in December of last year new rules accepting skinny label, but this rule became effect only in February of this year. So now Anvisa starts to accept skinny label here in Brazil. Even though, I mean, I must stress that again, that the Anvisa's rules are against the law, okay? Because I'm not saying that Brazil should or should not have skinny label here in Brazil, but what I'm saying that, in my humble opinion, my understanding of the law, the way of implement skinny label in Brazil is not through Anvisa. It's not simply Anvisa issuing rules saying that skinny label is now accepted. We need to change the law that creates the generic sense, because this law clearly states that generic must have the therapeutic indications of its reference drug and can only differ in other aspects, not regarding therapeutic indications, excipients, size, and so on. Okay. And the last development here, you guys remember, I mentioned that decision on the merits from the trial judge. Of course, the generic company has filed an appeal on the merits against this decision, and we are still waiting the final ruling from the appellate court. The appellate court start to rule this appeal in April. April? Yes, April, this month. Yes, that's right, this month. And the case is, unfortunately, it's two judges voted in the sense that the trial judge decision must be canceled in order to make what we call perícia, right? In English would be a court-appointed expert analysis, because the generic company argued that the second medical use covered by the patent would be anticipated by the prior art. So the judges understood that, so if there is this discussion, we need a court-appointed expert to decide that. The third appellate judge asked more time to analyze the case before handing her vote. So we are waiting the continuation of this judgment session. So that was basically the main milestones regarding second medical use and skinny label here in Brazil. But now, Amy, let's start, right? Should I read? Okay.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say thanks so much, Bernardo, because it's really helpful to understand all that background and context, and how it's taking time to get this clarity about what the law is and how things stand in Brazil.
Great. So, Amy, I want to start with a question, right? Because of course, you probably know, of course, the U.S. Supreme Court decision from November 2018, right? Because it was in a case between Warner Lambert and the generic companies regarding the use of generic pregabalin for pain treatment. The patent in question was ultimately held invalid, right? Rendering the infringement moot, meaning the Supreme Court did not need to address infringement in this particular case. Despite this, judges of the UK Supreme Court still provide the assessment of the approach to assessing infringement of Swiss 4 claims. That's why I'm talking here, because it was an infringement of Swiss 4 claims, and in Brazil we still have this type of claim. It's essential to note, at least let me know if I'm mistaken regarding the understand of this decision, Amy. The judicial comments on infringement are a Latin word here, obterdicted, right? Meaning that they hold no bind power on the lower courts, right? It's basically understanding from the judge, rights, and so on. Moreover, the judge expressed different opinions, raising concern about the potential impact of the UK Supreme Court's guidance, right? Because as the comments regarding infringement was obterdicted, I guess I can say that they are guidance on how to assess infringement of Swiss form claims.
Yeah.
And as I said, in Brazil, we still have Swiss form claims, and this guidance might be relevant to Brazil because we have Swiss type 4 claims, right?
So, I mean, in Brazil so far, are those the kind of arguments that have been put forward? It sounds like the foreseeable test is something that the judges have grappled with.
Well, I mean, in this specific case in Brazil, the judge has not come up with a method and so on because it was more straightforward, right? Because it was basically a confession saying that with the skinny label, I cannot prevent someone from using my product for the patent indication, and they have sold to the government, to the Brazilian government, their medicine for that specific treatment. So it was very straightforward analysis. There was not a discussion regarding intent, aspects of the mind, and so on. That's why it was more straightforward. I don't know. So in an eventual appeal, so far it's not the judgment is not about on the merits of the infringement. It's whether they basically they should because in Brazil we have the dual systems like in Germany, right? Invalidity of the patent before the federal court and infringement before the state court. And there is a big debatable if the state court should or should not address patentability criteria invalidity of a patent, right? And therefore, so far, the ruling of this appeal is going to in that direction. If the state court can or cannot see if the patent is valid before analyzing if there is infringement.
Right.
So far, it's 2 votes saying that yes, we can, and let's see what they come.
I see.
And that's what there is a question here from Maria Isabel, and we mentioned sometimes when there is a question in the chat, we are about to answer, and then Maria Isabel realized that you just answer her question. And Maria Isabel, I'm gonna ask Amy about something, and I'm gonna also answer somehow your question about the intent, right? That's why I'm shifting a little bit the gears here in order to discuss the concept of skinny label in the context of infringement of second use medical patents, because I can get this breakdown of the Supreme Court's deliberation that Amy just presented to us. Because as I guess you all know, skinny label happens when a generic manufacturer carve out an indication that's covered by a patent in Brazil, right? Basically, what they understand of this skinny label is that by not mentioning the patent use, the generic drug manufacturer or its distributor argues that there would be no infringement of a patent for a second medical use, okay? According to their opinion, they would not actively promote or encourage doctors to prescribe the drug for that patent purpose. But that would be a great skinny label, second medical use, but you know that life is not black and white. Sometimes we have some 50 shades of gray and so on. And that's why we have this amazing discussion, right? Especially because this understanding from the generics, they overlooks a crucial aspect, at least in my view, the off-label use, right? Because the doctors can, at least in Brazil, the private docs can prescribe a medicine for a use that's not indicated in the label, right? And especially in Brazil, we have a further particularity that increases the relevance of the second medical use and skinny label and the whole discussion that we have. Because the main buyer of a medicine in Brazil is usually the government, the MOH, Brazilian Ministry of Health, or the Secretary of Health from the states and city halls, right? And sometimes they starts a bid. I want to purchase the X amount of this drug here, and it does not indicate for the purpose of this purchase. I'm I don't know, 60% is for use A, 30% for use B, and 10% for use C, something like that. They all usually they say, I want this X amount for this drug. And then it comes the discussion. With the skinny label, the generic can participate in this build fully. If yes, then there is infringement of the patent, the second use medical patent. After all, even though they have carved out the patent indication, they provide to the government a medicine that will be used for the patent indication, right? So, in my view, that's, and I believe that the judge agreed with me in that sense. It's not, skinny label is not enough, right? We need to have more, something more to avoid infringement of a second medical use patent, right? In my view, the manufacturer or distributor has a responsibility to effectively deter the drug off label use for the patent use, right? They need to do more than that. And in that case, the generic company even said that with the skinny label, I cannot prevent my product to be used for the patent drug. So they have to do more. And what more, discussing, talking about Maria Isabel, I don't know. I guess it will be a case-by-case analysis. They have to do like an unequivocal communication to the public, to the doctors, to the manufacturers, distributors, the government, saying that you cannot use my product for this specific use because there is a patent and I cannot commercialize it for that sense, right? Otherwise, it will be, I mean, simple for that. They carve out, they don't take any actions, and let the public decide, say, oh, I don't infringe because I have skinny label. I would ask what the patentees can do to make sure to avoid off-use label, to guarantee their rights
Yeah.
besides going to the court and so on. But you already answered my question, no problem. But I'll give you the view of Brazil. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you raise a very good point. I mean, split the tender. Wow, I never thought about that. Perhaps the patentee could even request the public government, the public institution to, well, I have a patent for this specific use, so issue a tender just for the specific use, and let's the other tender keep for the other use and so on. That's a very good idea, because I was thinking about the first one is basically challenge the skinny labels right before the court, because as I mentioned before, skinny label, even though Anvisa has approved, but Anvisa as a public institute cannot do anything further than the law established. So if the law established that the generic must have the same therapeutic indications, Anvisa cannot issue a rule saying that generic can have less indication than the reference drug. So the patentee can also challenge the label of a skinny label before the court. Also, I mean, I don't know if it will help, but what I'm thinking here is sitting down with Anvisa to try to come up with a solution that would be better than fight before the courts, on and on and on and on, to about that, what we can do. Okay, skinny label, second medical use, but what we can do so that this specific patent, provides the coverage that the patentees deserve for developing this invention without compromise the other use that's on public domain. So what we can do, because when Anvisa issued this request for information, advice, and comments before issuing the new rules for skinny label, Anvisa created what we call consulta pública. It's a public consultation asking the parties to present comments on these possible new rules. And based on the rationale from them, this was not caring about the patentee, was basically say that second medical use patents cannot prevent the other use, a generic version to be used for other unpatented use. So, but Anvisa was not concerned about these off-use labels and so on. So perhaps we can have a further conversation on these and try to establish some ground rules for that. Just like as you mentioned, I don't know, put on the label, you cannot use for that specific use, or I don't know, put notes in the website. And I mean, that's what I think that we can do here in Brazil, besides going to the courts and so on. Delia Hansen, can you comment on any recent trends for Brazil in trying to obtain medical use claims for dosage regime aspects by litigating against ENP, Brazilian Patent Office? Yes, I mean, Yeah, so it's not about skinny label, but we can talk about because it's second medical use patent here. Amy, you probably know, but according to these guidelines from the Brazilian Patent Office, you cannot patent what I guess I can say third and fourth medical use, right? Based on when the invention of the second medical use relies on the dosage regime or the patient groups and so on, according to the patent office, this type of patent is not patentable. I mean, if you are having a second use patent that the invention relies on the dosage regime, the patent office understand that if you need to rely on that, then you are talking about a therapeutic method. Therefore, you cannot patent this type of use. Okay. And there is ongoing discussions before the courts about that. And sometimes it's just a matter of trying to come up with the better language for the I don't know if there is somebody from the patent office here because I don't know they would try. Oh, that you're trying to to deceive me. But sometimes a matter of find a better language for the claim. Let's say to disguise this dosage regime in order to obtain the patent. But yes, there are ongoing cases. I don't know how many, but I would say some. They are trying to overrule this decision. The patent office basically rejects applications that were claiming second medical use, relying the novelty and inventive step based on dosage regime. So there are ongoing cases before the court try to overrule this decision from the patent office. So far, no decision on the merit test, at least from the case that I know. That I know.